Welcome to Knowledge Hub Factory. Today, we are diving into one of the most urgent and sensitive issues of our time, child sexual abuse. This is not a subject anyone enjoys discussing, but silence does not protect children, it protects abusers. And so, we must face this issue with courage, compassion, and commitment. What you are about to hear is not just for parents, teachers, or professionals. It is for every single member of society. Because protecting children is not just a family responsibility, it is a community duty and a moral obligation. Child sexual abuse is often described as a silent epidemic. It rarely makes headlines, but its scars run deep and last a lifetime. Children who experience this form of violence may struggle with trust, self-worth, and relationships for years to come. Some never speak of it at all, carrying the burden, alone while the world looks away. And yet, behind closed doors, millions of children across the world face this horror every single year. According to UNICEF and WHO, the numbers are staggering, and still most cases remain unreported. Why? Because of fear, shame, stigma, disbelief, and cultural silence. But today, through this message, we are breaking that silence. We will explore what child sexual abuse really means, how it happens, what signs to look for, the devastating impact it leaves behind, and most importantly, what can be done to prevent it. This may be heavy to hear, but it is far heavier for the children who live it. If you are a survivor, let this serve as a reminder that you are not alone. It was not your fault, and healing is possible. If you are a parent or caregiver, let this open your eyes to the reality of what children face and how vital your role is in their protection. And if you are a member of the community, let this ignite your duty to act, to speak up, and to help create safe spaces for every child. To truly understand child sexual abuse, we need to define it clearly. At its core, it is any sexual activity with a child by an adult or by another child who has power, authority, or control over them. It includes both contact and non-contact acts. Contact abuse might involve touching, fondling, rape, or forced penetration. Non-contact abuse includes actions like exposing a child to sexual acts, showing them pornography, making them watch sexual behavior, or exploiting them online. Abuse can occur in homes, schools, religious institutions, community spaces, or even virtually through digital devices, and contrary to popular belief, abusers are not always strangers lurking in the shadows. In most cases, they are people the child knows, trusts, and depends on. Legally, many countries have definitions that include any sexual activity with a child under the age of consent, even if the child does not resist or is too young to understand. Because children cannot give informed consent, any such activity is abuse by default. It is essential to remember this because abusers often manipulate children into thinking they agreed to it, that it was their fault, or that they were complicit. The truth is simple: a child can never be responsible for sexual abuse. The responsibility always lies with the perpetrator. There are many myths surrounding this issue that keep society blind. Some believe child sexual abuse only happens in poor or broken families. In reality, it crosses all social, economic, and cultural boundaries. Others believe abusers are mostly strangers, but studies show most abusers are relatives, family, friends, teachers, coaches, or community leaders. Another dangerous myth is that children often lie about sexual abuse. In fact, false reports are extremely rare. When children disclose, they are almost always telling the truth, but adults too often dismiss them out of fear or disbelief. Some people believe boys are not victims, but boys too are abused, though cultural stigma often silences them even more. These myths protect perpetrators and leave children vulnerable. Dispelling them is the first step toward real protection. The signs of child sexual abuse are not always obvious. Sometimes, children may show physical signs such as difficulty walking, unexplained injuries, or infections. But often, the signs are emotional and behavioral. A child may suddenly become withdrawn, anxious, depressed, or fearful of certain people or places. They may regress to earlier behaviors like bedwetting, display inappropriate sexual knowledge, have nightmares, lose interest in school, or show changes in appetite and sleep. None of these signs alone prove abuse, but taken together, they are red flags that should never be ignored. Adults must learn to recognize these signs, listen without judgment, and act quickly. One of the most disturbing realities is that many abusers use grooming tactics. Grooming is a calculated process where abusers build trust with the child and sometimes with their family. They may offer gifts, attention, or affection, slowly blurring boundaries until the child feels trapped and confused. Grooming often makes children feel guilty or complicit, which is why they rarely disclose what is happening. The abuser carefully isolates the child, making them believe that no one would believe them or that speaking up will bring shame or harm to their family. Understanding grooming is vital because it reveals that abuse is rarely a sudden act. It is a process of manipulation and exploitation. The impact of child sexual abuse is profound and long-lasting. Survivors may struggle with trauma, stress disorder, anxiety, depression, and difficulty forming trusting relationships. Some may turn to substance abuse or self-harm as a way to cope with the pain. Others may struggle academically or professionally, unable to concentrate or believe in their own potential, and yet, with the right support, many survivors go on to heal, thrive, and even advocate for others. Their resilience is powerful. But the scars of childhood abuse should never be underestimated. When it comes to legal protection, many countries now have child protection laws that make it mandatory to report suspected abuse. Schools, doctors, and caregivers often carry legal responsibilities to alert authorities. But beyond legal frameworks, there is also the role of communities. Too often, abuse is hidden to protect family, honor, reputations, or institutions. This culture of silence must be shattered. Protecting children is more important than protecting names. Reporting abuse is not betrayal, it is protection. Prevention, however, is always better than cure. Parents and schools can play a central role by teaching children about safe and unsafe touch, by creating open channels of communication, and by monitoring online activities. Children should be taught that their bodies are their own, that they have the right to say no, and that they should always tell a trusted adult if someone makes them uncomfortable. Communities can organize awareness campaigns, schools can implement safety programs, and governments can strengthen laws and systems to hold perpetrators accountable. In today's digital era, online safety is just as crucial, because exploitation is not limited to physical spaces. And now, let me share a fictional story that reflects a truth to many families face. Her name was Aisha. She was only 12, a quiet student who loved books more than anything else. Every morning, she entered her school with the same routine smile, but behind her eyes there was a storm no one could see. The guard at the school gate was supposed to be a protector, someone the children trusted, but slowly, he began to manipulate her with small favors, friendly words, and gestures that seemed harmless at first. Aisha changed. At first, she withdrew from her friends. Then she began to lose focus in class. She looked tired, pale, and anxious. Teachers noticed but assumed it was stress or poor health. Her parents thought it was just adolescence. No one asked the deeper questions. No one saw the shadows gathering around her. The truth remained hidden. Until one day, Aisha collapsed during a school assembly. She was rushed to the hospital, and there, doctors revealed the shocking truth. Aisha was pregnant. The world around her shattered. Her parents cried in disbelief. The teachers felt shame, and the school that was supposed to protect her stood exposed. Suddenly, every silence, every ignored warning sign, every blind eye turned into guilt. The whispers in the corridors grew louder. The shame spread like fire, and the mask of the predator was finally torn away. What followed was chaos. Police were called. The school faced protests, parents demanded answers, and the guard who everyone trusted was revealed as the monster hiding in plain sight. Aisha's story shook the entire community. It forced parents, teachers, and authorities to confront the truth they never wanted to face, that danger can exist even in the safest looking places, and silence can destroy lives. But Aisha's voice, once stolen, returned. Her story became the reason others spoke out. She became the face of a movement in her town. A reminder that protecting children requires vigilance, honesty, and courage. Her pain turned into power, and her silence into a warning for every adult who thought abuse only happened somewhere else. Stories like Aisha's remind us that silence allows predators to thrive, but courage, the courage to listen, to act, to believe, can stop abuse before it destroys another life. Survivors around the world have proven that resilience is stronger than trauma. Many have gone on to rebuild their lives, to heal, and to inspire others. Some became teachers, activists, or counselors, turning their pain into power. Their voices remind us that healing is possible and that no child's future should be defined by abuse. Every child deserves safety, love, and freedom. Together, we can break the silence, protect the innocent, and create a world where no child suffers in darkness. This is Knowledge Hub Factory. Thank you for standing with us in this mission.